Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I have Bobby here, and we're going to be going over the NBA slate, and then I'm going to probably hang around and maybe do some hockey and the tennis also. And I'll be around later at 11 o'clock to do a live sweat. Again, I haven't done that in a while. I quite enjoy it, so I'm going to do that. It's one of the rare days where I could actually sort of play NBA somewhat optimally. Again, you unless you can commit time to being around after lock for all the changes and all the late swaps, you just can't do it. So I can do it a little bit better today, and so I'm going to be playing the NBA, and I'll hopefully have a good sweat for you guys at 11. In addition to that, we'll take a look at the lobbies and see who else is doing well. Maybe we have a hockey sweat. The Australian Open got started a couple of days ago, so I'm starting to get back into the tennis streets again. It was kind of a little bit of a layoff over there. So, I mean, first prize in the big GPP there was 30,000 today. So I'm going after that. I'm also going to at 11 o'clock build some LOL things for the overnight session. Maybe talk about PGA. A little bit of excitement over there. They have this King of the Desert thing where I won two seats to it like maybe like 4 months ago, and they finally played down from 100 to 50 last week, and it was a very interesting week because completely by accident I ended up with two lineups that had no overlap at all. It was like min unique 6, and I didn't do it on purpose, but when I saw it, I'm like, okay, I can live with that. Maybe one of them, because I really just wanted to get one of them through, honestly.
Yeah.
And one of them was like almost like the nuts. It's like almost could have put it in GPPs. And that was easy. And then this other one that had a 5 for 6 was like 69th going into the last day, and you need to get 50th, and like all these guys with Corey Connors busted because Corey Connors, did Corey Connors things. So the next round for that is this week. So I got to really put my best foot forward there as well. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about that. And yeah, so again, as you guys have seen, I mean, we're not as active with the, with everything like day to day to day to day to day. Because quite honestly, like Bobby and I haven't really been playing NBA every day. You know what I mean? And so it's just, I know. Listen, we want to do everything for the people and everything like that, but it's just different when you're not playing. You're not quite as locked in. But nonetheless, Bobby's here to help talk about the NBA as I kind of just rerun my projections and see what those look like. We could talk about the NFL a bit today. Bobby's Rams continue to walk through the raindrops. They as far as I'm concerned. It's so funny. Bobby and I talked a little bit today, and he pointed out something very interesting. I mean, I didn't really think about it this way, but I was saying that the Rams haven't played like a good game in like a long time. To which he responded, "Well, who do you want them to play? You know what I mean? Like no one's really good, and like the only team honestly that looks good right now is Seattle. it's really the only one. And you know what? I will say this: that if the Rams win this year and they win the Super Bowl, they certainly will have deserved it because they kind of played with their food a little bit during the season and kind of let the division get away from them a little bit. So they went into the playoffs as a road team, and that ain't no bargain, especially when every game you're playing is out freaking doors. I mean, they went into Carolina, and that weather stunk. Then they went into Chicago, that freaking shit show. And now they have to go into Seattle, who is the freshest team in the league, coming off the bye and a 40-point win. You know what I mean? Going into a place that's been traditionally difficult to play. And so that'll be the third straight, tough road game for the Rams.
Yeah.
And if they pull that off, I mean, I can't imagine them losing the Super Bowl. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it would be tough to picture unless Stafford got hurt or something.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff going on. There's like Survivor stuff going on. There, I'm deep in a couple of playoff pools over there. MMA gets back started this week, and so as we wind down the NFL season, now we're getting into kind of like Sheets' season, with a lot of other stuff going on. And just when you think that it's safe to go back in the water, you have freaking baseball coming up sooner than later, you'll look for you'll watch for changes in the in what we're doing a little bit. But I'm kind of psyched for this. What do you and then again the NBA is kind of looking sort of weird and interesting also. So did you take a look at the NBA slate tonight?
Yeah. My strong take is, and I'm not going to be around to do everything tonight, so I'm not going to be able to be playing. I would hope for value and try to find some way to get Luka and Jamal Murray in as many lineups as possible. I guess that would be my starting point. I like them the best as the spend ups. I think they are going to be the two highest scoring players in this slate. And I think that their ownership is too low. Now, partly that's because the value is not out there, but those two things jumped out to me, that a low-owned-ish Luka and a low-owned-ish Jamal Murray, I think, are tremendous. And you have a nice game correlation there. I think you can do pretty much whatever you want against this Lakers defense. So getting a little bit of a Lakers side is a little harder to get the game stack right. But if you play Luka with a Murray, Gordon, or even use Hardaway for the value, like we've also seen Peyton Watson get there. I just would be overweight that Denver side, and especially Murray and Luka in that game.
Well, from what I ran earlier, after we look at it now,
you're not going to get many of them.
Well, what I was going to say is that at least on DraftKings, you were getting sort of I won't say free square or whatever, but you're getting all kinds of value out of Podziemski for Golden State and other. I mean, because Butler, he tore an ACL, he's gone, and I'm also getting. So we'll get to others in a minute, but so Podziemski, he's I'm projected even now at like 6.3x at 4,300, and then the other top value I have, well, Moses Moody looks pretty good too from that game, but in addition to that, I have Walter Clayton Jr. with almost a 6x value as well. And if you play those two guys, then you can get to those dudes that you were talking about, I think.
And what's great about those guys is that they're in the late games, which we all know there's inevitably going to be some sort of news, because nothing in the first game stands out as like, oh, I need to play this. I think if you wanted to talk yourself into Maxey, absolutely. If you want to play Paul George, sure, if he's available. But nothing like stands out. And I think I'd rather just buy time on a slate like this personally. Unless we hear Paul George is out, then Edgecombe and the other guys are like kind of hard to ignore. But you got a lot of Q tags later on that aren't like huge, necessarily all huge names. But I mean, even take the Golden State side. Draymond is questionable. So is Will Richard. If those two guys are out, then it's just like load up on Moody and Podziemski. Potentially you get another one in there as well in DeAnthony Melton. So you might end up getting all the value you want from Golden State. And that's the one with the most Q tags, and that game's not till 10 Eastern. So that would be the way that I would try to approach it, unless we get, which we probably will, some news between now and 7 Eastern.
So you have Luka at 11.5, and the two guys I wanted to ask you about as far as spend ups go. I mean, I think Harden is going to be probably going to take a bunch of ownership.
Yeah. And it's a good play, by the way. It's just I just was throwing out a contrarian build.
I'll throw a couple of others out here. So Anthony Edwards, I mean, he's against the Jazz, and the Jazz just give up a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
So Edwards was going to look good. And then also in that game, it looks like, I mean, Rudy Gobert. I mean, I don't like playing him, but I mean, he's live I think he might be live for a big game here in this matchup.
I mean, they're all very live. He's back in Utah. It's a great matchup. I like to play. Now, it doesn't mean Edwards won't go out and score 50 points, real life points tonight. But I would rather play Anthony Edwards in a tough matchup. You give me the toughest matchup, that's when I want Edwards. That's when you get Edwards every minute down the stretch.
Yeah.
Against San Antonio the other night, for example, when he scored 51. I would prefer, if I was going to play a Minnesota guy today, I think I'd prefer Randall. And I like the Gobert that you mentioned. I think that it's a clear spot to attack. And Utah is always tough to play on the other side, but as of right now, I probably would eat the Walter Clayton ownership and then see what opens up hopefully you get some Golden State news before then, because I mean, Golden State, talk about shorthanded. What's weird is they're really shorthanded, and also like, I mean, if Draymond and Will Richard are out too, like if this game still should stay close, like you've got all the value pieces, and then you have to start thinking hard about Steph. And you might have to think hard about Buddy Hield if you lose Will Richard. And Gui Santos is also questionable. I mean, they've got 3 guys who like legitimately will play minutes tonight. Questionable. If any of those extra guys, and they already have good value, I don't know. If it was me, I'd be bumping up the projection on all of these value pieces from Golden State, because we almost never see 3 guys questionable this late in the day that one of them doesn't end up sitting.
And what time is that? The latest game?
It's the latest game.
Okay. I like the idea of maybe playing Curry. I mean, I don't usually play him.
Yeah.
But he's still Steph Curry, but with Butler out. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to imagine that that he gets a lot of usage, I suppose. So I like that. And here's another guy that might be sort of low owned that you play more than I do. And again, I don't know how owned he's going to be. I mean, what about just going right back to Tyrese Maxey again? I mean, nobody ever plays this dude.
It's so weird, especially without Embiid. Like, yeah. The only thing I don't like is that game is early. If Paul George is out, also, I think you just say, okay, we kind of have to do this. But it is kind of wild that he's not like getting like crazy ownership. He's still getting more than the other guys, but I do like the idea of. I mean, if I had to rank the top ones, I would rank it Luka, and I personally. Harden is a logical one, but I personally would rather go Luka and Jamal Murray, because I really think both of them, like, I think Luka's projection, you could argue, I know he's had a couple down games lately. I think you could say it should be 5 points higher. Jamal Murray, we've just watched him continually go nuts, especially in close games without Jokic. And I love the idea of being overweight. I mean, Murray's been over 56 in 5 of his last 7 games, and now you get arguably the worst perimeter defense in the NBA against you. It feels like that would be what would be my big takes tonight. And then you also have maybe if things open up, we end up doing Curry and something else, because we have all this Golden State stuff gone. I just imagine somebody else might sit for Golden State. I don't know who it's going to be, but I just have that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the fact that the Sixers game is at 7. Again, everybody's got to remember how the spacing of this slate's going to work. You have the 7 p.m. game, and then there's an hour, and then you have these 2 other games, Clippers, Chicago, and there's Harden, who's the play from that game, and that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. San Antonio, Houston, I didn't see much at all. I mean, there's some questionable tags, that need to be resolved over there too, but doesn't look like anybody's projecting all that great over there. Then there's a little break, and you have a couple of these Utah guys.
Giddey is legit questionable for Chicago, so you also buy yourself that too, because if he's out, then all of a sudden Kobe White and
but they're priced up already, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit for these guys being out, but I still think they look like pretty decent plays, and that would make sense more as a run back for Harden. I just think that Giddey is obviously a big usage guy. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to do something, but I do think that both the Sunmu and Kobe White and maybe Buzelis would all look pretty reasonable.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I mean, then you have like this Minnesota-Utah game at 9 o'clock, right in between, that kind of separates the earlier slate from the late slate, and from there you have the Gobert and the Walter Clayton Jr. And if you want to play Anthony Edwards, I kind of like that take of yours though about the Anthony Edwards. I mean, Anthony Edwards is one of those guys. And listen, maybe this is just our belief, and it's not supported by data, but I like the idea that guys like that, they just get all cranked up for the tough games, and because they're tough games sometimes and tough matchups, they're not as highly projected. So as opposed to this game where he's going to be projected, but I don't know if he's going to be owned. That's the thing.
Well, I think just to talk about Edwards real quick, I think he's such an amazing, this is the kind of thing that people don't understand, who don't like. you get all these crazy numbers now for all these heliocentric players. Edwards is not that guy. He is not a give me the ball and get out of the way, except for the last 3 minutes of the game, 5 minutes of the game, whatever. He really does play team basketball. His usage is significantly lower than all these players, and yet he's still averaging like 30 real life points per game. And in some ways, I think it's a more valuable 30 points than a lot of these other guys because he's really playing a team game. He's not out there trying to force. I mean, you look at his usage rate compared to like Luka's, and Luka's at 40 like every game. Edwards is in the 20s mostly. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I look at Edwards, big games. They've come in a comeback against Cleveland. They've come in that San Antonio win that I was talking about where they needed him to go nuts, and he did. But honestly, he's played so well in real life, and the DF and like for him to go nuts DFS wise, I mean, he really has to make 9 out of 16 threes like he did against San Antonio. It's just a little bit harder. And honestly, it's a credit to him as a real life basketball player. But I don't think DFS wise that I'm looking at him in the same way that I'm looking at Jamal Murray without Jokic, who's just putting up 60 like every other game while shooting 40% from the floor. It almost doesn't even matter. As long as the game stays close, Jamal Murray is going to find his way to 50 plus. Pretty much.
It makes sense. And, I've sweated a lot of these spots, and it seems as though but sometimes when you need Anthony Edwards to really get there, it takes him a while. In other words, like you're watching for him on the floor, even when you're just watching the game. Mm-hmm. Why is he like off to the side? Why is he screening? Why is he doing whatever? And then it's a little frustrating. And then other times when, like you said, when they're down 9 with 3.5 minutes to go, he'll put up 20 fantasy points in a quarter,
Well, he came out and said it himself last week.
Not in a quarter, 20 fantasy points in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, he said it last week though. He said, I don't care what you do the first 45 or the first 55 minutes of the game. He said, but if I'm not getting the ball in the last 5 minutes in a close game, something's wrong.
Right.
But that is essentially how he plays. And by the way, another guy like that a little bit is to a lesser extent, it's Donovan Mitchell is very much like that. You kind of want him on those really tough nights where they need him to go nuts. And I don't think they're going to need Edwards to go nuts. Now, Utah could get out to an early lead and maybe Edwards has to go nuts tonight. I just think for my money, I think Randall's a safer play and Edwards ownership is, I just would rather take the other guys in the 9K range over Edwards tonight.
So running my stuff through SaberSim right now, not surprisingly, I mean, based on the things that we've just said, people could probably guess where my ownership is right now. And I'm getting right now like 75% Pazinski. And then the guys I mentioned, like Walter Clayton Jr., like 45, but not like 50. You know what I mean? Like I only have like 2 or 3 guys in the 70s.
Right.
Then I have Moses Moody, like 39. Then, this is a guy I don't play all too often for this much, but Andrew Wiggins, I have a decent amount of him. Like, I have Andrew Wiggins as my 4th highest owned guy, but behind the Pazinski, Clayton Jr., and Moody. And what's good about that one is that's a Sacramento game. Like pretty much, Bobby, I mean, I have 7 guys over 30% owned, and all of them are 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Has
Andrew Wiggins ever played a game where you go, oh, I really wish I had Andrew Wiggins? Like
No.
But maybe he still cruises to his 5X, and that's a good enough. I guess that's what you hope for. But like, just feels weird anytime he's like one of your highest owned guys.
Yeah, but you know what? We'll slot him in for now.
Yeah,
he's 10 p.m. And we could, maybe who we could trade him in for? I don't know what his price is. Is this the day? Do we get Jonathan Kuminga?
This is so that was going to be my hot take, like coming in when we were going to do this, when I said I'd come on. They said they're going to play him. He hasn't played in a while. I think it's probably worth the gamble, especially if like Draymond's out or Real Richard is out too. I really think you could take that gamble.
Hang on, I got it. All right, Molly.
I like that. I like that idea, by the way. That she just want to talk a little bit more about that we've got him projected. What is he projected at right now? Projected to play 2 minutes. Jonathan Kuminga is not going to play 2 minutes. he's gonna play 20 or he's gonna play 0. And based on them saying they're going to play him, I mean, I think they're going to have to. I really do. Why wouldn't they too? If you want to try and get any trade value, don't you want to show this guy off a little bit? I love that as a contrarian play. And what happens tonight? I mean, it's going to be an easy swap, but like Podziemski's not going to start anyway. Like, but what happens when you see Will Richard isn't starting and Kuminga's all of a sudden starting at 3K, and you're going to wish you had all of it. So if it's me, I'm basically like, I would probably lock in Podziemski through the first set of games. I'd probably lock in Podziemski. I'd certainly consider locking in Melton or Moody also, because you're going to want at least a couple guys there if anybody else is out. And also, I think there's a chance like they might do something weird, like, oh, he hasn't played in forever, but now we might just start him with Kuminga.
So and like you said, like if is he actually 3K?
He's 3K.
I mean, if he's 3K and starting and you don't have him, like you lose almost.
I don't even know how, like, what the route is. Like,
yeah,
this is off Kerr and then he sits the rest of the game. That's pretty much it.
I mean, the only way the only thing you could possibly be happy about is that people already can't use him, but everybody's going to have somebody in that game.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, you might end up like dropping somebody and like saving 2,000 playing Kuminga.
Yeah, no, it's true. By the way, you know who's been awesome? I'm not going to suggest him for DFS, but I just want to point out he's been like actually incredible in real life. Russell Westbrook is probably the best bargain anybody. I mean, this guy signs a minimum contract every year and ends up the starting point guard every year or the first guy off the bench. And he's been terrific. He was another brainchild that I was having earlier, but I think he's just probably a little bit more than I'd want to pay. But he's another one that I could see going nuts tonight. He's been consistent. I mean, he was 40 in 5 straight games. He's been much better in real life too. Like, the turnovers aren't quite as bad. The usage is not quite as high. I really think a good team should go out there and get him. Did you have any thoughts about the championship game last night?
I watched just the last quarter pretty much.
Yeah.
The last whatever. Yeah, I mean, good game. Indiana, they were the best team. I mean, all year pretty much, and nobody believed it until they came out and just blasted Alabama. And then
everybody else.
Yeah, and everybody else, you know, it is also pretty interesting. Again, for the people who saw that game, you know, you had a pretty interesting decision at the end by the Indiana coach to not go for it on 4th and 4 from the Indiana Miami 10, or 15, whatever, to really just close the game out.
Yeah, and
he kicked the field goal, and Miami was basically 50-50 to win the game at the end there. And it's amazing the way results kind of like drive everything. I mean, if Miami scores that touchdown, I'll put it to you another way. Like, if that safety doesn't come over to help on the interception, the other guy's wide open and it's a touchdown.
Yeah,
and it could go down as one of the worst decisions ever to not go for it there. But because of the way it worked out, you know, the coach is back to being the greatest coach in history with a $400 million extension. You know,
there was a lot of weird coaching calls throughout the year. Well, first of all, I love Signetti, so I would do anything to have that guy.
Oh, he's great.
I love him.
I mean, but it's and then you get like McDermott, right? You know, like he made a couple of fishy calls, and then at the end of the day, it was the results that you know what I mean, like.
No, the truth is, like, look, I watched that game and I had so many Bills Rams futures, so it really hurt my like bottom line for the year probably.
Yeah.
But look, they lost that game. There was bad calls, no question. I thought that they went both ways, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
But I also thought that, look, I love Josh. He's a great guy, Josh Allen. I actually do think he made a lot of mistakes and missed a lot of throws that he normally makes.
Yeah,
and I think they win that game most of the time. But it
was a fair game in Buffalo, and you know what? Unfortunately, same thing I say about Buffalo is what I said about the Rams. Well, not actually the same. Okay, like so I would say, well, Buffalo. I mean, they made life hard on themselves, like having to go freaking play on the road. But the difference between Buffalo and the Rams is like the Rams are freaking loaded. And Buffalo basically had no offensive players.
You say this. I bet you if you looked at the rankings for players, that you would be shocked at how much higher Buffalo is than most of these teams. Buffalo has the best offensive line in football and one of the best 3 defensive lines and two of the top 15 rated tight ends. They just don't happen to have the receiver.
Okay, fair enough.
I feel bad for all this. I just feel like Josh Allen gets a little too much of that. There's been receivers in Buffalo since he's been there, but they certainly didn't have the adequate enough talent. I mean, by the end of the game, though, neither did Denver. Look who was out there running. It was my guy, Marvin Mims.
Listen, the football is a crazy sport, and because the scores happen in bunches like that in sevens, weird stuff happens. Buffalo very well could have been out in the first round against Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Basically, every team, really, except for Seattle, was in danger like the whole time. Actually, New England, that game against Houston was a funny game. I don't want to say feel bad for Houston, but like that Houston defense is freaking no joke.
I mean, they might be one of the all-time great defenses. This is like insane out there what they're doing.
Yeah, and it took till that very, very last touchdown that New England put up for me to think that New England was really going to win. Even
Yeah, same.
And that was one hell of a freaking play.
Yeah, absolutely.
So listen. And I don't even want to get into the freaking Denver thing. I mean, that's like tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that even happen? I mean,
no.
I don't even understand it.
Look, I think that there's 2 levels to it. One, he's definitely injured. There's no question about that. I think you know who the happiest guy is. I think Sean Payton is so happy right now. This guy loves to do everything weird. I think he wants to prove it because he loves Stidham. He's talked about Stidham like 100 times in interviews all season long. He went out and got him. He loves this kid. I think he's so excited to try and win the Super Bowl with Jarrett Stidham as his quarterback. I think he's thrilled. I really do. He's such a weird guy. He has to do something crazy all the time. That's my hot take.
Yeah, but that was too bad. The Knicks had a good game, and
Knicks was great.
What's your quick takes on the games? I know you like the Rams. I
like the Rams, and I did want to mention that I actually thought this was maybe the strangest game they've ever coached against this Bears team. Sean McVay loves to pivot and go the other way. The fact that they ran the ball only 7 times in the first half against the second worst rushing defense in football, it doesn't make any sense. They finally, in the third quarter, they completely reversed it. And maybe you're setting up that early on to try and set up the third quarter. I understand.
Well, it's because freaking what's his name? And Stafford could grip the ball. He's listen, the fact is he's just no good in those spots. You know what I mean?
No, he couldn't grip the ball. But people say that, but what's crazy? He had 2 500-yard games in losses where it was under 200, 500 yards, one with 5 touchdowns, one with 3 touchdowns and no picks.
But it was clear that he wasn't.
No, his fingers hurt. Like he's really hurt. But he still made one of the greatest throws you'll ever see in football. Like that throw across the sideline to Devontae Adams for a first down on 3rd and 10 was one of the best throws I've ever seen in my life. Like it's from hash mark to the sideline. It's like a 50-yard strike basically, and it can only put it in like a 2-foot window. It was incredible. But yeah, I like the Rams, and I actually like the Broncos. But I Sheets, me and my paranoia. My paranoia thinks the league would love to see either a Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl or a Rams Patriots Super Bowl. I think that's the league. The league.
I mean, Rams New England is what. Again, we were already 0 for 1 in our NFL conspiracy picks.
I know. Well, no, wait, hold on. I got Buffalo week 1 against Jacksonville.
That's true.
They didn't get through week 2 at all. So yeah, I guess that's fair.
Okay, let me tell you what my exposure looks like on FanDuel. I just ran it. Wow, this is interesting. I'm always very intrigued by the differences. So two of my top 5 owned guys or whatever are guys I don't even think I even have in my pool on DraftKings. Like, I shouldn't say that. Like my top owned guy on FanDuel is actually Zubac.
Oh yeah, there's the price difference too.
He's 6,600 over there.
Yeah.
And then Harden, and then Pella Larson is my next one.
He should be He's projected to start tonight.
And he's only 4,100.
Yeah, with no Butler.
Aaron Gordon, and then one of the Golden State guys, DeAnthony Melton.
Yeah, because he's super cheap there.
He's 4,700. we got to make sure Paul George is playing. The Edgecombe, I give some of him. So yeah, it is a little bit different over on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings, but it's a very listen. I hate to say this because now we're going to get news probably in the next.
Giddy is out, by the way.
Who is?
Giddy.
Okay, that's
we'll
what
see
I
how
was
the Bulls play, which is nice to get it in early. But yeah, I have Giddy is out now. Wait, hold on. I don't see the actual report. I just saw that his projection went to 0. Yeah, there it is. There it is. He got rolled out. Sorry.
Giddy, yeah, I had him at 0 anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's I think fine. Paul George is out.
Okay, well that's something because
that's what I just said. I just said that, right? I mean, it's a nice, easy, tame day, and of course the one he's out. But listen, the bad news is that we got to deal with it right now. The good news is we have to deal with it right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's going to be in front of us, and we're going to have to make a decision. It looks as though, we'll see. But what do you think? The Edgecombe, and then certainly Maxey.
Edgecombe is like 7,200, and Oubre's back now. I think Oubre is the one who's going to look the best.
Okay.
From a point per dollar standpoint. And they did announce that Oubre is in fact starting. So and then I think that look, if you're playing, you still got Quentin Grimes to deal with also, who's a very reasonable play. Look, you want a large field. Now it's probably too big a stab to play McCain right now, but I think that maybe the answer might be, people are going to play Oubre. Maybe Grimes, after they update the projection, doesn't project as well. Maybe you play Grimes instead of Oubre. Maybe that's one way to do something a little different.
This Edgecombe guy is good. I like him.
He's awesome, man.
Well,
he's awesome. I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I was saying that if you could put VJ Edgecombe's mindset into Jonathan Kuminga, which I know you can never do, obviously, as a player, I think Jonathan Kuminga would he could be a 30-10 guy.
He's got to be on the. I mean, Kuminga, I don't quite understand. He's got to be on the court. I think
he's got to play, but no. But when he plays, he's he puts up number. He's a freak of an athlete. He just doesn't look like a killer. Edgecombe looks like he wants to go out there and murder your family.
Well, I don't want that.
No, you know what I'm saying.
All right. So while we're waiting for the projections to update for Paul George, I'm going to run some hockey builds and see what those look like. And again, my process for hockey, for those who've been following this, is really hasn't changed. I've been totally, ROI in hockey has been through the roof all year, really. And the process is just, the one tweak is that I just really demand the real high correlative stacks. I mean, I don't play anything except for 4 3s, 5 2s, and 6s. And I just always have believed that SaberSim and all the sites, all the optimizers, and even some of the other ones, they just underestimate how valuable it is to have stacks going in hockey. So I'm very, very pure with that stuff. So I'm firing that up right now, and I'll let you guys know what I have. And then the other thing I'll say while we're waiting for the news on the I'll tell you where my exposure is there, is that the Australian Open, that starts in an hour and a half. And if you're going to play tennis, be aware that the ownership projections, really throughout the industry, are extraordinarily poor. Do
they stay poor after late swap, do you think?
There is no late swap in tennis.
Oh, there's no late swap. Okay.
No, there's no late swap in tennis. So you have to. What I like to do, honestly, is I will run a build of 5,000 lineups, something like that, with my projections. I like my projections, okay, but my ownership numbers, I'm getting a little bit better, but they're just not. I don't know what it is. I just can't get it close. And my projections are even better than the sites, but they're still not good. And I don't know, maybe it's because the projections are probably pretty easy to do. So everybody's access to the same information. So it becomes kind of this, I don't know, this cat and mouse game with the ownership, I guess. But I'm still working on it. But what what I like to do, as I was saying, is build like a set of 5,000 lineups, and then I'll use that as my representative field when I run the Sims or something. But tennis is deceptively tricky. So don't just because the projections are easy to do doesn't make it an easy sport to accomplish. So I'll let you guys know when I come up with my top owned players over there. And that should be in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Anything update yet? You can see
they ran one thing, but it wasn't right. Oh, they just did another one. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I still don't agree that they've gotten anything figured out on Philadelphia. They just happen to have the Suns starting lineup, which is what we thought.
So did they announce the Philly start? You said they announced the Philly starting lineup.
They announced the Philly starters. They just ran another new update. Let's see if that has it. Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay, now it's starting to make a little bit of sense. They bumped Maxey up to 51. I like that. I think that Maxey is now probably it's probably really close with Maxey and Harden. I still really like Jamal Murray. And then they bumped up Oubre, not as high as I thought they would.
Who do you think is be higher owned between Maxey and now with what's the amount between Maxey, Harden, and Murray?
I think it'll be Maxey and Harden as the two high owned ones, and then Murray will come in third. I think they'll be close between Maxey and Harden.
Can you play all three of those and not play Luka? I guess you could.
You could find a way to do it. I think, especially if you're betting on some more late, funniness with Golden State or something.
But then again, like you said, then you lock in the Maxey early.
Yeah, but the Maxey, I don't mind the spend ups early. I just don't like the value early if I don't have to. But I mean, look, if you ended up with a little bit of Barlow or Bona or Drummond, I don't think there's anything wrong with those plays. It's just I would rather bet on the later.
Which of those guys are starting between Bona and Drummond?
Drummond's starting, and I'll tell you what, Bona's looked pretty damn good. I like Bona. Obviously, he's a UCLA kid, but he plays well in his minutes. I just don't know how many minutes he's really going to get. He's probably going to play 15 minutes or so. 16 minutes maybe. How's
Drummond look?
He hasn't really. We haven't seen this because they have Barlow and they have Bona. It's not like he's got the secured position to himself. So the minutes are going to be in flux, but he does have a huge ceiling. I mean, he's projected to play 25 minutes. Honestly, if he's projected to play 25 minutes, I don't care what his numbers say this year. I don't think as currently constructed that he's less than a 1 point per minute player. So I think that's really, really low of a projection. Maybe they're going to still update it. I would have him significantly higher than, at least 1.2 per minute or somewhere in that range. I'm very surprised how low Saberson has him, but they might still be updating.
As far as the hockey goes, if anybody's following this, my top hockeys are, I'm pretty spread out. Well, I'm spread out because I'm playing the poke check, which is the 150 max, the $5. So I have like a lot of teams. But nonetheless, I mean, Nashville, Tampa, and Edmonton are my top three. As far as big buy-ins, what I'm ending up getting to is Montreal actually, and Boston. But again, my process is not making any real decisions in hockey. I really like the way my projections have been in hockey, and I like the way SaberSim has coordinated lineups. And that one tweak I made with respect to the stacking is I think I'm, again, as I've told you, I've told other people a lot. It's like the two biggest mistakes people can make in business. One is to take a bad idea and keep doing it, and the other is to take a good idea and stop doing it. So hashtag whatever has been working. I'm gonna roll with that. For now.
Absolutely.
And then on the other hand, you have Tiger Woods, who wins the U.S. Open by 20 strokes and then changes his whole swing.
Yeah.
That's why he's Tiger Woods, though.
And Victor Hovland, too, who finally bounced back after a rough go of it. Victor Hovland tried to pull the Tiger. He changed everything.
Yeah.
His best year.
So one of the things you could do, by the way, if you want to maintain your NBA sanity here, but you still want to be whatever, is when you have this news that comes in and you don't have time to. This is more for the custom people, because if you rely on one set of projections, it's actually easier for you. You just kind of wait, and then you just kind of run your stuff or whatever. But if you have to run custom stuff, I don't have time probably to run a full set for everything. So what I could just do is change the Philly stuff. That seems like a reasonable a reasonable compromise. So the way that would look, let's see, what do these projections look like? So we have Tyrese Maxey's 51, like you mentioned. Any like starters getting a bump? Like, oh, is Trent Watford's up to 12? That doesn't mean anything, right? Oubre 25. These are just the Saberson ones, 21.
Yeah.
So I could run a new one, but I don't know. I just
I think Oubre and Grimes are both too low. That's my take.
Grimes, that's an interesting one, huh?
I think that you can always gamble with that play. We haven't seen the no Paul George, no Embiid as much as we did early in the season. But we can remember Quentin Grimes going nuts a million times when this happens.
I do remember that.
It's just I thought it'd be an interesting pivot off of Oubre, but you may not even need a pivot off of Oubre because his projection is no good either. These are all guys who usage is way lower. I mean, again, you take out Embiid, you take out Paul George, it's a very different situation. So I actually really like the idea of getting to one of Oubre or Grimes if I'm not getting Max yet. I think I'd want to get one of those three. And you throw Edgecombe in the mix. It's just he's more expensive, so I didn't think about him at first. But
maybe let's change this one. We'll change this one. What was I going to say? Yeah, so McCain is not showing up really. Just trying to focus anybody else. Maybe just screw this whole Philly game.
Screw it all?
No, I don't know. I mean, with him out, I mean, Maxey's got to have respect, right?
Yeah, Maxey, I like the Oubre followed by Grimes because of the projections. If for some reason Kelly Oubre was showing up as a really popular play, I would say just play Grimes. But as it stands, I have no problem with playing a low on Oubre. Oh, here we go. Let's see what this new update is. I'm just going to check because I have a feeling the Philly's still too low. Okay, yeah, there we go. Kelly Oubre now up to 27.5.
Okay.
And Quentin Grimes now up to 26. So you're going to get a little more ownership on Oubre than what they're currently saying. He's probably going to be double-digit owned. I do think Grimes is an extremely interesting tournament stab. I think Oubre is going to end up like 25, 30% at least, maybe higher. And I don't think anyone's going to play Grimes, who literally projects within like 2 points the same price. I think you gamble that way. That would be the way I go.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit behind now, so now I'm going to have to re-update. But the good thing is, I mean, it's 6:43. Everybody's
it's only one game.
And yeah, and you do have time anyway.
Yeah.
But again, you want to make sure that if one of those guys is a really good play, that you get them,
Yeah. I just think that they're interesting tournament plays. But now Oubre is becoming more of like almost a cashy play with these projections. But I do think that Maxey and Harden are going to be what everybody does. I would suggest for Maxey and Murray to be the main ones, just because to find something different than the Harden, who I do love, by the way. I think this is a totally fine play with no Kawhi in Chicago. It's an elite matchup. I just think that there's no way Jamal Murray doesn't put up a game tonight. I really don't. I think Jamal Murray ends up with like 60 plus or maybe 70 plus.
I mean, he's been doing it. He had one bad game, I think, and then he's like over 50. Then he's like over 50 in like every game. I mean,
and it's without Jokic against this Lakers team. I've watched the Lakers play too many times this year. They do not play defense. They have one guy who can play defense on their whole roster. It's crazy.
Wonder how this Gobert play is going to end up if I end up playing that.
I don't think he's going to get much ownership.
Yeah.
And Utah for vibes,
Yeah. Not only that, I don't think they have much of a front court anyway.
No, they don't.
It could be like 6 and 23 for Gobert or something.
Yeah, right. They play fast. It's a perfect rebounding spot. I think he's interesting. Yeah. I am gonna probably get out of here.
That's fine. I'm just gonna hang out, do this other stuff.
Good luck tonight. Just so I put like $20 on each of your packages on staking, so at least I have some action going.
Nice.
All right, man. Good luck to everybody, and I hope maybe I'll come in and say hello later on.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, bud.
Yeah. So I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start sharing my screen, I guess, as I do the tennis and maybe redo some of these NBAs. So hold on, I'll show you guys exactly how I'm doing this. Especially with this new Paul George projection. Let me just share my screen here first. Okay. Yeah, so this is SaberSim. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to keep my projections the same. I'm going to keep my projections the same for everything except for those key players, like Oubre 25. Oh, wait. Thought that Grimes went up. Let's refresh the projections. Let's see what these look like now. Again, the only things I'm going to use. So Grimes up to 25 and Oubre's up to 27. So let's put, again, my projections in, but we'll keep SaberSims the same. I'm just curious to see how much I get out of this first game here. Again, I'd rather not play too much of the first game because, again, as Bobby was astutely pointing out, I mean, you get all this flexibility later. You can mess around. Yeah, Oubre, I have at 20, and now he's up to 27 because Paul George is out. Okay, so may as well do this. Get all these guys in there. Ownerships will keep, and then we'll just start over. And here's one bit of information. I asked Jordan from SaberSim once the last couple of weeks. I asked him when they update a player's projection, how quickly does the contest fields for purposes of running simulations update or contest sims? How when do those updates? And what he basically said was that you know that the contest sims have updated when the ownership has updated. So it looks as though Oubre's up to 18 and Maxi's up to 21. So it looks like the ownership projections have updated. So the contest fields we can rely on, pretty well here. 2, 3. And then again, once the 7 p.m. game locks, then I will do the tennis stuff. I'll just show you what I'm doing. Again, it's the part of the reason I'm doing this is just a little voyeurism, I guess. You guys can actually just watch what I'm doing as I'm doing it, and it keeps me honest as well. By the way, sometimes I know that I'm being kind of observed, that I'm not going to do anything stupid. I mean, I still could do something stupid, but that's one of the reasons I do staking stuff. I mean, I want to say I don't need the money, whatever, but I don't really need it. But I like, number one, teaching people how to play. I like also the providing a sweat for people that want action. And it also, when you have money, people investing in you, you perform a little bit better. I mean, I feel. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. And again, I'm in portfolio diversification mode on SaberSim, which usually gives you a more, I don't want to say wimpy build. I shouldn't say that. Just a little more diverse. That's the best I can describe it. So we'll save all. Before I do that, let's take a look and see what our exposure is, just to show you guys. Not just Philly, we want everybody, and it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar to what it was. I am getting like 27% Oubre though, but the Paul George being out did not affect the Tyrese Maxey very much at all. So that's interesting. But I am looking forward to the 11 p.m. thing later. Okay, so that was. I still have some of these. Still have some of these. Richard for the Warriors. I mean, I'm getting some of him. I mean, this is, who knows whether I end up with him later. Oh, yeah, I got to do FanDuel. Let's see what FanDuel looks like. Again, we'll keep everything the same except for the Sixers guys. Okay, so you see what I'm doing here, right, guys? I'm literally just changing the projections on the Philly guys. I'm keeping my other projections the same. One thing I will do, I mean, I'll probably be with you guys right as we cross over from 7 o'clock. We'll take a quick look at the ownerships to see what people played in the early. I imagine that nobody played anybody from Phoenix. When I say nobody, or meaning anybody, I would be surprised if anybody was over 10% from the Phoenix side over there. I'm going to predict that Philly. I mean, I think that Oubre probably will get 20, and Maxey will get like 20. I don't think anybody else is going to get anything. Grimes, I mean, he's not starting. I mean, how can you really do that? Barlow starting at 4,100 on FanDuel. I think I'm going to end up getting some of that. That's a tough. And Drummond 39. I mean, these are good projections. We'll see what I end up with there. That's going to be interesting. Now, again, I apologize. I haven't been checking for questions in here. Let's see if anybody's got anything. Yes. What's up, Scott? What's up, MJ? Really want to win that golf thing. So, listen, it's an easy. Listen, it really is an easy process for me. I just have very, very good faith in my projections over there. There's no stacking. There's really no nonsense. What I do like to do is I do like to watch the Rick Rungood podcast. And all his picks or his analysis definitely breaks ties for me. And it's free over there. I mean, so. I mean, at least the YouTube breakdown. I mean, the models and stuff you have to pay for. So let's see what I end up getting on FanDuel. Remember, at FanDuel, when we ran the earlier build, we got a bunch of different. We got a bunch of different ownerships. Who is this comedian that I have on right here? Who is this dude? Leo Reich. Okay. I don't have any sound on. He looks pretty dynamic, though. 53. All right, let's save all. Let's see what we get as far as exposures. Go over here. Wow, like a zillion % Oubre. All right. Let's. One thing I will say again is I do not question the outputs. I mean, as long as I trust the inputs, there's literally no reason for me to question the outputs. So if I'm getting 70% Oubre, then that's what it's going to be. Okay. Portrait of the artist of a ripped slut, it says on the thing. I don't know what this is. Okay. All right, so that is going to do it for the NBA, and that is also going to do it for the NHL. So if you want, if you guys want to bail out, that's up to you. But I am going to run another set of projections just in case. But it's never going to happen in time. So actually, there's no need for me to do it. That's a complete waste of time because it's not going to finish before lock, and I don't need it again until 8 o'clock. So let's build the tennis. And just for funsies, we'll take a look at my tennis projections here. One thing is that, I mean, I've been messing around with it. not messing around with it. I've been working on these things on my own, and for whatever reason, the top salaried guys, I get even more as far as projections go than the industry. And it's always kind of an uncomfortable feeling to play those guys, you know. But I think that they end up lower owned as a result of it. So we'll see where I end up. But I'm going to try to predict like who I'm going to get a lot of here. So what we're ranking these guys at, or it's by Sheets value score, which is kind of a combination of fantasy points and points per dollar. And typically the lowest price guys in the top 10 or 15 are like the quote unquote best plays. So Alejandro Davidovich, Nuno Borges, and Tomas Martin Echeverry, those are probably going to end up being the best plays. That's just the way it works based on the projections. So let's just go ahead and build here. And again, it's the same process here. It's really nothing fancy, but there's no stacks. There's no funny business here. And so the only question is whether I use the, whose fields I use. So I guess for today, I mean, let's create our own fields. I mean, so what we do is we put in my projections, which are here in this file, and then you click this magic button to automatically create fields from ownerships. And then we have to call it something, call it sheets. And then we don't need to build 20. Well, you know what? Let's build 10,000 lineups for these purposes. And so what this is going to do is this is going to create our own contest field to compete with SaberSims. Basically, what this is betting on when you do this is that for the purpose of tennis, that my ownerships are going to be better or closer than SaberSims. For some sports, that's not the seminal question. Because in some sports, it's not just the ownership of the individual players that's important, but how people are going to put those together. But because there's no, I mean, there are certain things that tennis players will do, but not really. So you can really just, if you could say that if my ownerships are better, then probably my contest fields are going to be better. So what you do is after you do that, you go into contests, and instead of using flagship MMA, we'll use sheets as the field lineup, but we will keep the high stakes single entry as the, oh my God, this guy is going crazy. Who is this guy? I want to get some sound of this dude. Who is this? Oh, he's singing. Now that is very interesting because I didn't think he was singing. I thought he was just a comedian. Who is this dude? Oh my God. All right, we're going to turn the sound down. This is NS, not suitable for much of anything, I feel like. Oh, you know what? I think I ran the Sims before. Oh, no, I built it. I built it right here. So, I built the lineups too early. Okay, so we got to stop this. So I simmed it before I built the lineups. So we're going to do that next. I appreciate the handful of you guys that are still out here doing this. But again, because as I see not that many people here, I'll know not to, carry on too much longer. But I figure I'm here on the computer anyway. This is so funny. I really didn't think this guy was singing. I thought he was performing. I thought he was doing a comedy routine. He's actually singing. I'll put him on again. Just can't have the F word coming all over the place. Oh, he's doing both. Whoever this is, I bet you he becomes huge. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if this vibe is. He's British too. All right, so we're gonna start over. So here's my projections. We're gonna redo the lineups.
Remind people that is stuff we can do. Keep distracted. That's been huge for me.
Oh, thanks, Scott. Yeah, good luck to you too. Again, if you're deep in something, if you're ever deep in something, Scott, honestly, you could ping me in the Discord or whatever. I love rooting. I really do. And listen, I'm not going to say that I get more enjoyment from other people winning than myself, but I get more enjoyment out of other people that I like winning than is probably very normal. So you're deep in anything. I you know, if I'm awake, I'll definitely come and sweat that. It comes back from poker all the time I spent staking. You know, I really, and yeah, it was for the money, but I really enjoyed the sweat and like coming to people's tables and rooting and acting like a little 10-year-old. Really, like rooting like whatever. I need a little more of that. Because it's different rooting for DFS, my own DFS results. You know, it doesn't. I like rooting for other people also. All right, cheers. All right, so this is almost done.
It's just a bit of fun.
And you see same thing, portfolio management. You'll see the portfolio diversification tool. Because you sit under portfolio plus. Then we'll hit save to all, and then we'll see what kind of ownership I get. And I'm actually getting a bunch of this high-priced guy, the Zverev. So hopefully, and you'll see that my projection is like 10 points higher than SaberSim. So we shall see what ends up happening here. So we will download this, and then I do want to take a quick look at the ownerships, followed by, and then I can get out of here. Okay, Scott, sounds good to me. All right, so let's take a look at the ownerships and these events. We'll do the zone special. Take a look. And all these Q tags, right? Let's just do this. So who do we got here? So yeah, I was right. So Maxi 22, Oubre only 15. That could end up being some value there. All right, so we shall